for the NFC East. The Eagles in control now. Can they finish it off on Sunday? Big Ben has his sights set on a 2020 return. We will discuss his future in the wake of that elbow injury that has kept him on the sideline since week 2. Plus, Marshawn Lynch's return to the Seahawks. Will it be beast or bust? See what I did there? You guys like what I did there? Beast or bust? Beast or bust? You got it.
Felt good. Felt natural.
Did you use all of Christmas to figure that one out?
I just rolled it out over some eggnog. Dan Graziano here with Josina Anderson, Victor Cruz, Rob Ninkovich. We have team coverage all over the map. We are locked in on this Eagles-Cowboys game, that Eagles-Cowboys 2 games that will decide the NFC East. We got Ed Werder in Dallas. We've got Sal Paolantonio in Philadelphia previewing the Cowboys game against Washington and the Eagles game against the Giants. Philadelphia can clinch the NFC East crown with a victory over the Giants, while Dallas would need to beat Washington and have the Eagles lose. So let's start in Dallas with Ed Werder. You see Ed with Sal Paolantonio. We're going to start with Ed in Dallas. Ed, what do you got for us on the Cowboys today?
Yeah, Dan, Dak Prescott is still managing, and his injured throwing shoulder remains limited in practice for the second consecutive week. This is not encouraging for the Cowboys. Not only was Prescott so compromised that he was unable to deliver a winning performance following a similar routine leading up to the game against the Eagles, but he endured one of the worst performances of his career. Prescott's completion percentage was the second lowest of the season. He also established career worst on the basis of most incompletions thrown outside the numbers, 15 or more yards down the field, and passes thrown to Amari Cooper. Prescott said his shoulder played no role in his performance, but he conceded missing so much preparation could have been partly responsible. And in the early portion of practice open to the media here today, Prescott did not throw, although he did participate in some individual drills. Here's head coach Jason Garrett's expectations for the starting quarterback this week.
It'll probably be pretty similar to what he's done. He was involved in the walkthrough this morning, and probably will be limited in practice if he does anything at all. Yeah, again, I don't want to get into that discussion. Here's where we are, and he's handled it great. He's as tough as they come, as physically tough and as mentally tough, and trust me, we bet on this guy.
Well, Garrett did say that Prescott seems to be making progress. Unlike last week, he's been able to participate in the walkthroughs these past 2 days. And Garrett said he hoped that would give him a better feel going into this final game of the regular season, a meeting with the Redskins that the Cowboys must win to have any chance of winning the division and making the playoffs. For a look at the Eagles, here's Sal Paolantonio.
Hey there, Ed. Day after Christmas, this Philadelphia Eagles team worked right through the holiday film study, making sure that everything is buttoned up because they know there's a lot of unfinished business, and they got to get the job done at MetLife Stadium on Sunday against the Giants to win the NFC East. Here's Carson Wentz today.
Yeah, well, we have to win this one. It's just like the last few weeks. I think everyone knows that. Obviously we've had a couple emotional wins the last few weeks, and as leaders and coaches as well have done a great job of just making sure guys are still bought into this, in the here and now, and not dwelling on the past, not looking ahead either, and just going out to work. We got our work cut out for us against a good opponent on the road, and obviously if we win, we're in. So we know what's at stake.
Unfinished business for this football team, but also for Carson Wentz. Think about this for a second. Carson Wentz has watched Nick Foles take this team to his first Super Bowl title. Then Nick Foles finishes up last year, makes a playoff run. This is the first opportunity for Carson Wentz in his 4-year career, Dan, to win his own division title, to put his signature stamp on one Eagles season. He knows that. The team knows that. And when he doesn't turn the ball over, Dan, this team is 17-3 in his career. And he didn't turn the ball over against the Dallas Cowboys. And that is what Doug Peterson has been preaching to number 11. Dan the Man, back to you.
Thank you, Sal. Thank you, Ed. Because Carson Wentz did not turn it over, this is the first week all season the Cowboys haven't had at least a share of the division lead. Through week 3, they had an 81% chance. They were 3-0. Then they lost their next 3 games, but they beat the Eagles week 7, and their chances stood at 74% to win the division. But after last week, the Eagles now have a 73% chance to win the division, and the Cowboys are at 27%. tables have turned. Cowboys, it's not over yet, but they no longer have control of their destiny. So obviously this has not been pretty, but the rules say that someone does have to win the NFC East. So it's going to be one of these teams. Let's talk about them. What do you see with the Cowboys right now, Victor?
Well, I think the Cowboys right now, where they stand, is they're a little beat up. Obviously, with Dak Prescott injuring or nursing that shoulder, how good will he be coming off of that after, obviously, this past week having some errant throws where you saw kind of what he didn't look 100%. On the flip side of that, he had some receivers that were dropping some footballs in some crucial moments of the game that potentially gave them an opportunity to win the game or to go ahead and to make it a game. So you got to look at that. They got to shore up some of those drops and shore up some of those miscues between Dak and his receiving core. But I think ultimately the Cowboys end up winning the division. I do believe the Giants have been playing a better brand of football. I think they're getting healthy. I think it's obviously too late in the season for them to make a run. I get that. But I do feel like the Giants are playing a good brand of football right now, and they love to play spoilers to anybody in the NFC East. Just so happens to be Philly this week.
That would make it interesting. But even if they do that, the Cowboys still have to win their game. Rob, what did you see last week with Dak that he has to fix
I want to show you.
Week's
I want to show you a couple of plays. I think he's dealing with. Obviously, we know he's got the AC joint issue. And Vic, you know when you have an AC joint, what do? They numb it up. They numb it up, so you don't feel it. But look, I'm going to show you this play here. 2 plays here. I want to show you 2 plays. The accuracy of Dak here has been the issue. You see on this particular play, and Vic, you can tell me this: when you have a step on a DB, when you have a step and you don't get the ball in the right spot. So this ball here, he's got great protection and just
the touchdown.
Just beyond the reach. Let me show you that again. So pressure's great. Offensive line does a great job. He steps up in the pocket and he misses by a couple yards. And you know, he's mad right now. You know the receiver and how you feel as a receiver when you beat a guy and then you go through that. He didn't want to say anything.
Just discouraged.
He didn't want to say anything.
Because you know those opportunities don't happen often.
Exactly.
Those opportunities to be that wide open at that juncture of the game, it doesn't happen often.
Exactly. So on this one, you're going to see the front here doing a great job, keeping the pressure off him. He's scanning the field. He has options. And when you're a quarterback dealing with a shoulder and you miss a guy by that much, there's obviously something with accuracy going on. And when you have those problems, when the game comes down on the line, you got to make a throw, and you can't make it, it's going to be a problem for Dallas. And look, even if they make the playoffs, I don't know how great they're going to be in the playoffs, because they're going to play a team that's good, really good.
You know what
so
I think?
Can they hang in there with a team that is a very good football team? I don't know. I don't know.
You know what I think is encouraging about that is when you actually watch the throw, he actually went through his whole full throwing motion with that arm. So that, to me, looks encouraging. What's not encouraging is obviously the fact that he overthrew him. So I think that has a lot to do with what Ed Warder was talking about in his report in terms of some of the missed practice time and not being in complete synergy with your receivers. And then also, you know that Dak Prescott has the inner belief because he's been to the playoffs before, but may not be in the same mental pocket because you know that something is wrong, so you're not in your same groove with the throw mentally when the ball is being released.
Yeah, there's no, I mean, it has to be affecting him. And again, he's going to be dealing with the same thing this week. He's not throwing in practice today, and it didn't throw earlier in the week, so it's going to be something that could conceivably continue to be a problem. You're looking at him there throwing left-handed. Which,
confidence. You got to.
I mean, maybe there's a scoop in there. Maybe we're going to see something different on Sunday, and it'll be like a Princess Bride type of thing.
It's definitely has to be confidence, mental, physically. When you're dealing with an injury, it can affect you. So, moving forward, we'll see how he responds. But I do know when you have to manage an AC joint the next week after playing on it, it feels terrible.
I mean, I've had one of those, Rob. You've had probably more than one of those at your position. I mean, they hurt. You're in excruciating pain, especially those first 2-3 days. It's not up until game day.
Game day, you don't feel it
because of the adrenaline, and then obviously
it's the next day,
nice
the
little
day
injection
after.
that they put in there.
But with the pain, you would almost think that those throws would be underthrown.
Agreed.
So the fact that it's overthrown,
which a few were. But we got to highlight the fact that there were some passes that were on the money, spot on, that they dropped. And during crucial moments of the game, you cannot have those miscues by your wideouts and by your pass catchers because Dak is expecting you to be there and make those plays when your number's called.
Yep.
Right.
We got a Modelo Gold Standard stat. It focuses on the other quarterback we're talking about, Carson Wentz of the Eagles. He has carried them to 3 straight wins while throwing 6 touchdown passes and 0 interceptions. Only Drew Brees of the Saints has more touchdown passes without throwing an interception over that same